can't hear it. Well, that doesn't mean that we have that volume.
Now
we do. Now we do.
Right?
I see that. It's so sunny. I didn't see the bars. I'm going to blame it. I'm going to blame this.
Blame it on the sun.
Yeah, I want to blame the sun. The fucking sun did it to me again. Let me turn the music off here. This is Jim the Keys bartender for episode 179. Eat it, Dick. No, it's not Eat it, Dick.
We just had
It's Got Wood. It's actually Got Wood.
A rant and rave of
but
8 minutes of Eat a Dick / Got Wood.
Well, no, we weren't ranting about Dick. Before the show, Jenna and I have a little conversation to get started, and she brought over a box, and I go, she brought it over with a grin, so I just assumed.
Out of my refrigerator.
I know. I didn't notice it was at her refrigerator. I just saw a box, and I'm thinking, is it I thought dildo vibrator or something like that, and
right away
it was a chocolate dick.
It's a dark chocolate dick.
Dark chocolate dick.
And when you flip open the lid, it says "Eat a dick."
Yeah, but what I would imagine Asian size because it was quite petite.
It was petite and thin.
And it wasn't thin.
Well, it's not girthy.
If it was longer, it would be girthy. Short, if it was longer, if it was proportional.
So if it was longer,
I mean, I think they were just doing size because of the cost. And you said it came packed in ice.
It came in like one of those kind of
cryogenic
like
packs.
Foil, like a foil outside,
yeah.
And then it had like ice bags on the inside, like frozen little ice bags on the inside. But the label only had my last name on it.
Yeah.
And then my address. So I don't know if somebody sent it to my husband, Tyler Kelly, or me, Jenna Kelly. So who knows who sent me
Eat a Dick.
2 boxes of Eat a Dick.
Yeah. Who could have sent that to? No, well, like I said, I got a glitter one. I think it was from my sister. It's all right. Yeah. I blame the sun. We did 8 minutes. And it's good. It was a practice. You know what? It's good for. It's good practice.
Because I was grumpy about a couple of things that
we were talking about. We went through a holiday weekend, and there was. We love the tourist. We do love the tourist.
Yes.
The thing about these off-season holiday weekends is that you get South Florida people that come down, day trippers,
here in
and people.
Upper Keys. A lot of these homes are weekend homes for people that live in South Florida. And we are, of course, not on the mainland. We're on an island.
And their friends come down.
And they're in massive amounts of family.
Yeah.
I mean, just insane.
It happens in many shore towns. When on the holiday weekends, they just bring people in.
Yeah.
And the houses are just crawling with people in these shore towns and stuff like that. And so we get inundated. And the supermarkets are crowded. The parking lot's crowded. It's trash. The 10% rule where 10% of the people do not behave correctly.
Right.
And it happens on the water and all that stuff.
Really
you have a lot of people, and when you have a lot of people and you say that if only 10% of them were assholes, you just have a lot more assholes than you normally would.
Yeah. I mean, if it was 100% of assholes or disrespectful people coming down from the mainland and leaving their trash, we wouldn't even be able to survive here.
No, they would would carpet bomb the whole, from the Homestead to Key West Naval Air Base. They would just come down with their fighter planes and carpet bomb us down.
Just
Sink us in send us into the fucking, yeah.
I still think there should be a toll for people that don't have an address in Monroe County. You want to come down here and vacation, fine, but then
what's that going to do? Pay
the toll, because people that come down here to usually cause a ruckus or steal or do anything like that are not usually willing to pay to go make a mess. You know what I mean? And we're not talking about people that are coming down here to staying in hotels where there's staff that cleans up their messes. We're talking about people that trailer their own boats down.
Well, what about
that camp on the sides of US 1 where it's technically not even allowed, but it's free for them.
I heard that down at Indian Key that the boat ramp that there were people that got down that couldn't even get their boats in the water because they had all these vehicles around there and stuff that just blocked the public ramps.
And the trash that they leave behind, and the plastic, everything is so plastic.
Yeah.
And Monroe County puts out these giant.
Keep on talking about it. I'm gonna cut my beer.
Yeah. They put up these huge blue garbage cans, like giant trash cans, like 55-gallon barrel size. and they don't have enough staff to go and empty them 7 times a day. So yeah. So then when we have, oh, mine's over there.
Oh.
Well, I'll get mine. Help yourself.
Oh.
But these trash cans. So you're seeing all these pictures, right? And so once the people that are vacationing or camping there on the side of US 1, which is shoreline,
Yes.
once the trash cans are full, they just start making piles all around the trash cans, including their grills, their broken beach chairs that they brought down with them.
And when people are coming back, if they're having a boat, a lot of times they'll leave loose trash on their boat, and it blows off the boat when it's trailered.
Right.
And Jenna had a bad experience. She has a yacht moored out in Blackwater Sound.
It's like my home away from home.
Yeah.
So it sleeps like 7, and it's got
And it sounded like you had a beautiful Saturday night, but then on
Saturday
Monday,
was great because we escaped. Because here,
Yeah.
all the neighbors were making noise and had all their family down and all their friends down, and it was chaotic in our neighborhood, which is on a canal.
Yep.
And so therefore everything's very loud. Travels across the water.
How you doing? Okay. There's a guy kayaking with his little dog.
Sea kayak. Yeah, his little dog's cute. It's about a 16-foot sea kayak.
Yeah. So where were we?
Well, we were talking about my bad experience out on the water.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful Saturday night.
We had a good night Saturday night. We just got out of Dodge. We went out to the yacht, which is our little floating home away from home. And then Sunday we stopped back in, got supplies, brought all of our trash with us.
Yes.
Put it into appropriate trash cans to take out and recycling. Let the dog out, did our stuff, and then we went back out. We had another good night Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
And by Monday morning, by 11 a.m., we were back to the house. We ran out of our own yacht.
Jet skis, we were, as you said.
Mostly rental jet skis. Out of, basically the hotels. They're uneducated people that don't realize they're not supposed to come that close to yachts or buzz them or make circles around them because they want to get a closer look.
Yeah.
Because all they're doing is leaving a huge wake.
Yeah.
My regular vessel, which of course is like our tender to get out there, is an offshore fishing boat, large offshore fishing boat, and was nearly swamped by all the waves. And then there was multiple boats with families that were out there tubing.
Yeah.
And this is Blackwater Sound. This is a massive basin.
Yes.
There's plenty of other water where there's no boats moving.
Yeah, it's not a tight. It's not like.
It's not tight.
It's not like that Arizona. What's that? Havasu.
Yeah. No.
It's not like Havasu where you got or the sandbar where there's plenty of room for everyone. There should. You shouldn't have any problem finding your own area.
Complete disrespect and terrible voter education.
Yeah. So
we came back. And
we don't want to get too many bitchy. The idea once again, it's the minority of people that do it, and it's not minorities. I'm talking about it's a small group of people that cause such a shitload of problems.
And the people that bring their stuff. There's videos of the people that drop their jet ski off of the trailer at the Caribbean Club, and people are standing around yelling, hooting, and hollering at all the locals are laughing at these people.
Yeah.
Go figure out what you're doing first.
Yeah.
Practice. Or have somebody that's educated go teach you.
Yeah, they did. That's a holiday. I tried to do a show there on the 4th of July last year from there, but there wasn't. It's weird, there wasn't a lot of people putting their boats in water. You just got to wait. I'm hoping that maybe. No, I always work those holidays.
Yeah,
the Memorial Day or Labor Day.
Memorial Day, so
and July 4th, this year I'm going to be in Poland.
Yes.
So did I tell you, someone asked me, they said, you're going to miss July 4th? I said, I'm not going to miss it. I'm going to be in Poland. And they go, what do you mean? I said, they have it there. And they go, no, they don't. I said, yes, they do. They got it everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so, what'd they say? I was so, God. You're so America-centric. And I said, no. I'm saying 4th of July is everywhere.
Right.
I didn't say the holiday.
Day. You didn't say Independence Day.
You dick. I said, it's just 4th of July.
Here's
it's going to be
your
4th of July. Yeah. They just won't be doing the fireworks and all that stuff.
You know what I didn't tell you about?
What?
When we were doing the first 8 minutes of Eat Dick, and then we realized that we weren't plugged in, is that many of the neighbors, which of course I'm looking across my canal and seeing many
Yeah.
houses. And then, during holiday weekends, they all have extra boats.
Yeah.
There's always extra boats. There's always overflow. But you know what you do is you make friends with your neighbors. Because my neighbor next door, Deb, they had an extra boat here. We moved our boat back and they let them park here.
Yeah.
No big deal. There's a house over here with a big teepee,
Yeah.
right? And he had multiple boats and multiple family and multiple visitors. And I would guess gently at about 18 people at the dock.
Yeah.
And then a big hydrosport pulled up with like multiple engines on
Yeah.
it. And it was a cuddy cabin. Right, so you could sleep in there,
Yeah.
you could have AC, everything. But when AC runs down here on a boat,
Mhm.
you can always tell because it's always cycling the water. It uses the seawater to
Yeah.
suck in to cool the AC down and then shove it back out.
Yeah.
So they had guests, and these guests had a big hydrosport park next door at the neighbor's house, which is a brand new owners just bought this white and blue house.
Yeah.
So these people showed up on Saturday night. They were here before I got home from work.
The people with the white and blue.
The people in this hydrosport,
Yeah.
which were friends of the neighbor, but the people in the white and blue house were not home.
Uh-huh.
So
They didn't even ask.
They didn't even ask. They're brand new. They're brand new owners. I doubt they even have their
Yeah.
contact information. So this hydrosport was probably 36, 39 feet, if
Uh-huh.
I had to guess. He could barely turn it around in this canal, and he docked it and took up the entire neighbor's dock, as well as half of the other house right in front
Uh-huh.
of him. And when we came back on Monday,
Yeah.
that guy, the new homeowner, came home.
Yeah.
And you should have seen his body language. He was stunned. He went to park in his own driveway, had to pull around other people's cars, and walked out to the dock as these people are panicking, throwing all 8, maybe 12 of their children that they brought with them, noisy, screaming, naughty ones, by the way, shoved them all in the boat, fired up the motors, and started backing down the canal while this guy is coming home. And you could hear him say, "Did you unplug my davit?" Which a davit is like it's like a half of a boat lift. If you have 2 davits, you use one at the end, one at the front to lift your boat out of the water.
Yeah.
So it's not as modern as a boat lift that lifts everything from underneath. So they had, and you can see the plastic bag right here. I'm sure, Jim, if you look across. Now, between the 2 davits,
Yeah, I
below
see
the
it.
tree, there's a plastic bag. That
That's
plastic
covered.
bag is covering his power outlet. Those people that came there and docked there
Were
with a
plugged
boat
in?
full of people, boat full of kids, everything, with AC running for 3 days straight,
Mm-hmm.
plugged into that guy's power. And he caught them. So after he got, he kind of made a scene nicely. He was very polite. Those people backed all the way out of the canal. He went out there, and the plastic cover that covers an outdoor outlet was broken off and thrown to the side. So he had to cover
Oh, it was locked. It was locked?
He had to cover it with a plastic bag so that his outlet doesn't get damaged.
So that neighbor has to pay him now.
Who knows? But he walked over to that neighbor's house, and all of a sudden, all of those 18 people were gone. Quiet, locked in the house. He even went around the other side to go knock on their door to ask them why the heck somebody was parked at his dock with the power plugged in for 3 days. He's probably going to have a $200 minimum electric bill
Easy.
for not even being there, because that boat ran all power, all lights, and all AC for 3 days straight, pirating this guy's power. And he's a brand new homeowner. How's he going to feel about living down here? But those people are part of that 10%. Please don't be part of that 10%.
Is that their music playing right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so they're not.
The House of the Tiki. That's their music that you can hear right now. And that's low. You should have heard it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
So when we said previously when we didn't record that, living on the water, it's flat water. I mean, if you're on the ocean, you wouldn't. It's not so much because the waves break up the acoustics. I'm saying with the waves, the beachfront, you got it drowns it out.
Instead of
but
having
here,
streets,
the sound goes up and down the canal, especially when you cross.
it would be like an alley. Instead of having an alleyway in your backyard for like somebody that's from a big city like us. Instead of having an alley, you just have a really, really wide canal of water, seawater, which you can drive your boat right back up to your backyard.
Wow.
And it was just so disrespectful, and I couldn't. And the guy didn't even stay there to shake his hand, apologize, and ask, or maybe, you know what, say, hey, you know what, sir, I plugged into
Well,
your
first of all,
dock.
they were stealing.
Right.
They were stealing. They didn't
your
even.
dock, but you're new here and we didn't know how to reach you. Here's $100 for all of the electric I just used from your house.
Yeah.
I would have called you to ask you, but I didn't know who you were.
Yeah.
Something. Make an effort. No effort.
No, you can't even. If they're not there, you can't plug in because they knew.
Right.
You get if you can't. If that guy didn't have room for him.
Well, here's the other thing. There's extension cords. Why wouldn't they just have run an extension cord from their shore power one house over to the neighbors that they were actually the guests of?
Yeah.
But they didn't think about that and they didn't care. And it was disrespectful. I thought it was horribly rude.
That was rude. That was rude.
But like my neighbor Deb, when my yacht was here at the dock and it took up the entire dock, it's a 40-foot dock, almost a 40-foot boat. When my brother and his friends came down to go fishing, Deb let us park the boat at her dock.
Where was this boat docked?
This boat was over at my other house, my
Okay.
kids' house. So when my brother and his friends came to visit, though, obviously they stayed here. It was easier for them to load up here, go fishing from here. And we asked the neighbor, can we please park there? Of course, then when we realized they had an extra boat for the weekend, we offered for them to park here while we were gone.
Well, I guess with that, this is the perils of. I mean, this is tight.
So
We're in the Keys.
Here's the thing.
This is really
that guy
tight.
on the hydrosport can eat a dick.
We should have gave him.
We should have given him a dick.
Yeah.
Should have thrown it at him. Could have used like that toilet.
You should have waited.
launcher
You
that
should have
my mom
waited
got.
till it melted, so it was like a melted chocolate
It was just
dick.
like kind of
Slap- a
melted
wet slap.
enough to stick to his
Stick to the
face
side of
and
his
then
face, yeah.
slowly run down, like leaving like tracks.
Yes, the track of my
Dick track.
chocolate dick.
Anyway,
Well, but there are a lot of wonderful things down here.
there really are, and you know,
and like we said earlier, it is the exception rather than the rule because we are living in a community, and most people are polite.
most of them are. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and there's nothing like it down here because you can have a shack
like that.
Like
Or
that.
Like that.
Yeah, and I mean, and actually they're kind of taken care of here. On my street, there's one. It's owned by a local business, and someone's living in it, and it has no AC. It has tar paper covering old things, and this guy lives with his wife and his baby. I think social service has been there a while, and I don't begrudge someone a place to live. You know what I mean?
No,
You know,
but I will
I mean,
tell you
they
that-
have all this. I don't understand. There's this discarded furniture out, and so I know the business that owns a lot, and they're beholden to the county. How could they not be cited for, having this? And we are living in a community, so you have these houses like that, and you could very well have a trailer that looks at maybe worth $10,000. The trailer itself, maybe. I'm looking at it. The one right across the street,
Yes,
maybe 6.
maybe.
$6.
But that property would
on
sell
that
for
property,
$300,000
$300,000.
because of the lot, because
The
of
lot.
the location.
Yeah, and then on a certain street, if you had a double or triple lot, someone could put a $750,000 to $1 million house in there. So on one street, you could have. There are streets here where you have multi-million-dollar homes, and then you have homes that are barely up to living standards.
Right. So, like, my house is about, a rough guess, about $500,000 for value, right? But then, if you go to the very end, the guy that is working on his corner lot,
Yeah.
and it's brand new construction.
Yeah.
That house would probably appraise for 1.5 mil.
And this
the
is
same
yours.
street.
Yours is a nice house. There's houses on the. I mean, there's a couple of houses.
There's a couple of houses that are pretty nasty, and
Yeah.
and you know what? A lot of it is what I'm finding out, and this is crazy.
Yeah.
But what I'm finding out is that my canal,
Yeah.
basically back in the day, used to be the bay, open bay, and of course there's shootouts of coral because we live on an archipelago,
Yeah.
so it's all coral rock. Right? But this is a cap rock canal. This street is cap rock, so they dredged out, they cut out, which you can see on the sides.
Yeah.
That it was, they brought in their machines, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and they chopped that stuff out. Well, they built all of the neighboring canals with that fill rock,
Yeah.
which settled. So the houses from this street on to the end of the bay, which was 4 more streets, well, they have settled. And we are in an EA9 flood zone, which means your house has to be 9 foot off the ground. Well, my house is elevated, and I live on a cap rock. and I have 2 sets of dock. So I'm fine. I have flood insurance, and my house is financeable.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
The houses over there are not financeable.
Okay.
Unless they are newer homes built on stilts, or put a manufactured home on stilts, which is that there's a blue one over there.
Oh, I see.
That's they built a stilt frame, and then when they bring in the house, like a manufactured home or a modular home, they set it up on top. Well, that's financeable. So if you take a house like these that are older trailers, you can tell there's one across the canal that's even got a step roof, so you can tell it's like a 60s trailer.
Yeah.
That house cannot be financed. So anybody that buys it has to buy it cash. Well, most people don't have $300,000 of available cash. So what happens is multiple family members get in. They put home equity lines on their houses on the mainland,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll all bring in $50,000 to $75,000, and they buy the house for cash, which means they share it as their weekend home. Which means every single birthday, every single holiday, any event,
Yeah.
they all celebrate them down here.
Wow.
So you end up getting spring break for your high school son 1 week, and the very next week you get spring break for your college son, and then the week after that you have spring break for your nephew, and then there's your graduation parties that all get held down here. There's all the stuff that gets held down here.
What can they do with them, though? I mean, at the end,
Well,
there's not going to be any building permits anymore, is there?
you can do the insides. You can redo the insides, and you can put additions on with proper permits.
Oh, okay.
But you can't
Like
do,
this guy seemed to do over here.
Yeah.
There's a. But that looks like he has a little.
He has a pool over there.
Yeah.
It's one of those pool fillers.
Yeah.
It's like a big plastic giant pool that you just dig a hole for and set it in the ground.
Yeah.
But it's not all the way in the ground because it's got a deck.
He's a nice little setup there, doesn't he? That looks like a little a snack
It does
thing,
look like a little
that.
snack bar.
Yeah,
Little-
where someone could go up there. It has
Although I will tell you that if he wanted to sell that house and finance it, which he can't because it's too low. If he wanted to sell that house and finance it, he can't. He has to sell it for cash.
yeah. That's a
and
double lot,
That is a double lot. Yep.
And it looks pretty nice, but yeah, you wouldn't be able to finance it. Yeah.
No, and I know exactly why. The other reason you couldn't
Why?
finance it, because there is not 40% of open natural terrain in his 20-foot setback of the mean high water line. So basically, what they're saying is from your dock back, 20 feet all the way across, you have to leave it as natural terrain. That's why I have rock.
Uh-huh.
It has to be natural terrain because it drains. It
Oh,
could be
so.
rock, it could be grass, but it can't be concrete like that is.
And there's other people. When they get to the flood zones, they come in and they tell people that are putting in new they have to raise their property.
Absolutely.
But there's people that live there that the properties aren't. And once you raise your property, then that puts them at an even greater risk of flooding because all the land around them is raised. And you hear about people just clearing out mangroves and doing that, dumping stuff.
Right.
Dumping junk in the canal. There's a big canal cleanup going on. That was like the old fucking Wild West down here when they first started developing. No.
Oh.
Years ago, when you started talking about the canals being dug and stuff like that, when they were developing the Keys back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, there was this guy that owned goldsmiths near Randy's Gifts across the. You know where I'm talking about.
Oh, yes. Okay.
There's actually a basement below Randy's Gifts.
What? You can't have basements here?
You can't, but the guy dug it. No, you didn't. He dug it. He got someone to dredge it out when they were digging out Adam's Cut.
Oh, my God.
So they brought the equipment in, and they dug it.
Cut done in the 70s?
I don't know. The guy had it done. No, whatever the goldsmith.
Yeah,
no, but the father, the people that own goldsmiths underneath. There is, it's just cleared. Yeah, basically.
Oh,
so, and you can see at Adam's Cut, they've got some pretty cool, the corals notched in.
Yeah,
you see,
fossilized.
Yeah, and you see, and you look
cool.
at the sides, and you see all that. And some people actually build into it a little.
Yeah. Well, imagine driving your boat through, like, a lock, right?
Yeah.
It's like a lock in
like the Panama Canal.
Like the Panama Canal. But when you're
much
looking at the walls, you can see all the fossils of the brain
from
coral
hundreds
and
of
the
thousands of year old.
hundreds of thousands of years ago, because we used to be a coral reef.
Yeah.
And then when the ocean levels went down and all the coral died and then fossilized and petrified, it became rock. But it's funny because if you pick up any of the little rocks around here, you can see the little shell pieces in it. What used to be a shell.
It's all pulverized coral.
It's all pulverized coral.
Yeah, and well, this guy that was the developer, they would just go in and dig these canals and start developing, and then they put an injunction on them, and they go and pay the fine and continue doing it. But finally, sometime in the 70s, maybe, the courts got wise to it and they said, oh, not only do you have to pay the fine, you have to fill in the canal and stop. You cannot develop.
Oh.
So they stopped doing it. But they had done their damage already.
Right.
A lot of the pollution that comes out here, not just from the boats, but it's from the improperly dug canals. Because some of the canals are deeper than the water, so you don't get it deeper than the water, so you don't get any free flow back and forth with the tide, which is not adequate for that. Now, what's even more adequate, even more effective, is having a back channel where you have water that comes through and cycles through, having a same level with the exit. And what happens? Dead vegetation settles on the bottom, and when that starts decaying, it comes out, and that's pollution.
Right.
And then you have stagnant water that comes in here. And
now, it's funny that you mentioned that because after Irma, and of course we had evacuated.
Well, they're doing canal cleanup now. They're doing canal restoration now. There's a big project called Canal Restoration, and they're talking about there's hundreds of canals, and they're talking about
they need
doing
to
all of them.
Right?
What?
They need to shallow the canals.
Shallow and do. Well, there's all sorts of things they could do. They could do air curtains for the canals. The air curtains keep the water from the debris from flowing in and out. Make sure they're at the same elevation. The bed is the same elevation at the outlet.
Right.
And then other ways have water and outlet through the back.
See, that's cool because, like I said, after Irma came through, and when Irma came through, it sucked the water out of the bay.
Yeah.
So Blackwater Sound, Tarpon Basin, Buttonwood Sound
were you here for that?
Empty. No, but I saw all the pictures and I had friends that stayed.
Yeah. Did anybody go out?
Yes, they were walking out there to water the manatees that were flopping on the ground, which used to be the bay.
Right, yeah.
So what ended up happening is it said that there was a huge amount of fish death.
Yeah.
Because the fish would get stuck in the low parts of the water, and then when the rain came down, they drowned in fresh water. These are saltwater fish. So there was huge areas where the fish ended up and it was usually the small fish. The big fish went out with the water. The tarpon, the big fish, the snook, all those guys went way out with the water. As soon as the water started flowing, they left. But the little fish couldn't keep up. So they ended up getting stuck in these lower elevation pods.
Yeah.
And so many of them drowned. There was dead fish everywhere when I got back. But the water, when it came back in with a vengeance.
Yeah.
And of course, after the hurricane hit landfall on the west coast of Florida, the winds slowed and stopped. The tides came back in. The water came back in. It came in and it was up. It went up over the seawall of my old house, up to the very bottom of my entrance door of my old house. Completely.
Oh, I remember you were talking about the cleanup.
Flooded my street, and my mailbox, which looks like a buoy at my other house, floated away. So when I got back in, they didn't let us back in for 2 days. I actually would have been able to save that house if they would have let me in right away, but they wouldn't.
What do you mean? They wouldn't let you on the street?
They wouldn't let us back in the Keys because I had
until Tuesday.
Till Tuesday. And my house then filled.
When were you trying to get in?
What's that?
When were you trying to get in?
Immediately after.
Where were you?
I went to the Redlands, which is in Homestead.
Where'd you stay in the Redlands?
At Damon and Joe's old house. Damon and Joe just moved back down here a year ago. And we went up there and stayed in his big old concrete bunker, and we were fine. But I will tell you that there was a vent on top of my old house, an old sewer vent, that they used a solo cup when they capped it, and then they poured that white roofing material all over, like that white glue. like a white tar
Yeah.
over the solo cup. And that's what they used for a vent. Yeah, to cap the old vent. So my husband went literally to KLI 2 days later and replaced the it was $9 to put the proper vent cap on there. And because that solo cup did not survive Irma, 2 days of rain came down, it flooded it from the roof inside, and I lost 7 walls inside of my house. And it started peeling off from the inside out, and it filled with black mold. And FEMA kicked me out. I had to go rent it up to my house, go all over the place. It was insane. And
I'm sorry.
And the canal is finally now clear.
Let's split this up right now because we're killing our comedy vibe.
Oh my God! Okay, here's the funny part.
What's the funny part?
Here's the funny part. Do you know how they?
You found a dead body.
Do you know? No, I didn't, but I heard all about it.
Okay.
You know what they do with the big boats? Here?
What?
When a hurricane comes?
They bury them in the mangroves.
No, well, the liveaboards, yes.
Yeah.
But the regular big boats that people don't have trailers for, 35-footers, stuff like that you can't legally haul on the road, they spring line them in between the canal, in the middle of the canal.
Yeah?
I have pictures. I'll show you. And it's freaking cool.
Okay, let's save this for the next show because we're gonna miss the whole got wood thing.
We're gonna what? Okay, we got wood.
We got wood. We'll go back. We'll continue in episode 180 and talk about it because that's fabulous. We got maybe 10 minutes left.
Okay, so
10 minutes left, and we should have maybe done it in the beginning. We could have done it in the beginning. Okay, you know what?
Do you have wood? Is that where you're going?
No, you know what I have been. No, I'm not going to talk about that. That's right now. We'll save that till later. But as you know, folks, I was in the Navy. I knew a little about sailboats. I don't know much about powerboats at all.
It's so cool.
I really don't.
I learned.
I mean,
so much.
I had some training on sunning port, starboard. Spring lines, bow lines, stern lines,
right?
All those things, but to put a line across a canal, and these canals are
40 to 50 feet wide.
Yeah, 40 to 50 feet across, and so they
predict the direction of the wind. Now these are captains. These are Damons. These are Tylers. My husband's a captain. They predict the direction of the wind, and they figure what's the dirty side of the storm. How's it going to be spinning? Where's the wind going to come from?
Yeah.
So they figure, okay, let's aim the bow this way or that way.
Yeah.
Wherever you're at. And it's so cool because they'll literally tie the bow lines and tie the stern lines to the concrete that's on the dock, right? On the ski wall. Yeah. And one of them goes up to the other side of the street in random neighbors' yards. You don't even care. You just tie your stuff up. Yeah. And they spring line them in the middle so that...
What do you mean in the...
You would basically put the boat in the center of the water.
I got that. But what do you mean you're going to run the line?
You would run a line to that house, across the canal, to the bow, and run a line from the bow to this house.
Okay.
And same thing on the stern.
Okay.
And you let it have enough room to sink because they know the water's going to get sucked out of the basin.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to have it all the weight.
Slack in the line so that the boat doesn't end up getting pendulumed in the air when the water from underneath it gets sucked out.
Oh, yeah.
So the boats just sink down 7-8 feet. They still are sitting in water, though, because the canals are dredged deeper than the basin.
I know, but can't they, if the wind changed around, couldn't the stern or the bow get smashed up against the side?
No, they leave just enough room so that it can't possibly pivot enough to hit.
Okay.
So it's cool how it works. I believe it's called...
Well, that's at some engineering feat because I've seen. I'm just saying, that's not a life or death. That's property protection. Mm-hmm. Because I've seen videos on YouTube where people mistake swings and bungee cords.
Oh, yeah.
And they do these giant swings on rocks and off a stone arch, and the person lets go, and they just had too much of a line, and they hit bottom and die. Or bungee, when they come out and they go, oh, they didn't factor in the stretch on the cord. Right. So, I mean, I can imagine how in the hell the kind of engineering... I mean, you have to be pretty experienced.
These guys do it, though. It was so cool because there'd be literally one guy on one side of the canal, the other guy on the other side of the canal, and they would let each other have enough slack
They're doing it
so
for
that-
each person.
so that the boats will never hit the concrete,
Yeah.
but can sit low enough when the water gets sucked out, and then when the water comes back in, not tip it over and sink it.
That would have been a really great opportunity to
It
get all
was-
this shit from the bottom of your canal.
It was
You know
so
what I mean?
cool to watch it, though.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Oh my God! If I would have been there, I would have been out there picking up all the trash out of the bottom of the canal.
Yeah, they should have had all the. They should have had all those
cool.
tourists, the vacationers that were with shitty behavior, come in and give them free go and say, "Listen, you can grab all the stuff from the bottom of the bay,
will
but don't give
give
them. We will give you whatever you can pick up,
As
but
many
don't
chocolate
tell them."
dicks as you want.
And chocolate dick. No, and don't tell them when the water comes back. Because there was an old, the stories of the three Chinese brothers.
No.
They come up with a magic fish. One catches the magic fish,
Okay.
and he grants 3 wishes. Oh yeah,
like a
I learned
genie
this when
fish.
I was a kid. Yeah, it was what?
A genie fish.
Kind of like that. You know, in China they do things a little different. You know,
Yeah.
the genie is a Middle Eastern thing, so the fish is. So well, if you throw me back, and one, I just remember one wanted to be able to drink as much water for some reason, and he cleaned out the ocean in order to get fish. And he's going and grab fish and stuff like that. And at one point, he was out doing it, and I don't know if it was him or I guess it's horrible to tell that story, but you guys can Google it. And he just couldn't hold the water in anymore. He just let it go, and he just killed a whole bunch of people or something. They cleaned up the fish. Yeah, it was a good idea. It sounded like they did that if you were a Harry Potter fan. The Bad Deal in the Deathly Hallows thing, where the Deathly Hallows was they got a magic. They got all these. They cheated death, and they gave him like an invisibility cloak, a wand of unimaginable power, and something else. And each gift had its own bane to it.
Yeah.
Like the monkey's paw. You have to know the monkey's paw.
I know what a monkey knot looks like, but
No, the monkey's paw is it's I don't know if it's an O. Henry story or something like that from the 1800s. It takes place in England, and these people have a friend who comes to visit, and he, for some reason or something like that, brings along a relic, a monkey's paw. It says it's magical. You get one each time you hold it, you get 1 or 3 wishes or something like that. Right?
Okay.
And this woman, she was very greedy, and she wanted something to happen. She wanted to come by some money, get 2 wishes maybe, or something like that. She wanted to come by something. You're in England, and she goes, I would like to get 1,000 pounds, right? 1,000 pounds.
1,000.
And all of a sudden, like a little later, there's a knock on the door, and it's the employer of her son. Her son worked at a factory, and he died in a machinery accident. He was horribly mauled and killed.
God.
And so I had 3 wishes. Okay, I'm gonna give it all. I'm gonna fucking give it away. The people listening to the show do not read stories from the 1800s.
Probably not.
Okay, so they get that, and the woman's crying. She says, son's dead. So she grabs a monkey's paws again. She goes, oh my God, all I wish is my son to be alive. And all of a sudden, you hear a little wait, there's a knock on the door again. But then they realized they didn't say, I want my son back the way he was. So they wished their son back, and she wished their son back.
And then they
alive.
got like Pet Cemetery son?
Well, no, they didn't get that. They see it was a novel, so people use their imaginations, not much like today where they can't fucking think about anything without, you know what I mean? They can't imagine that. So they're going to think, oh, it's all mangled. He's knocking on the door. They didn't see any of it yet. They didn't see any of it. And they use up the 3rd wish and say, I wish he just went back to being dead. That was it.
Wish he what?
Was back. The last one is just he can go back to being dead.
Oh.
I mean, they could have wished that. No, I wish you never came by.
Right. Like.
Yeah, I wish it was Monday instead of Wednesday. Or something like that. But no one ever wishes that at the time. And I told,
Right, yeah.
I wish I told that. I wish I told that story after I told the one about the genie with the building the highway to Hawaii.
Yeah.
That would have been a good one. I told you that one. Did I tell you?
I'm sorry. Alyssa's at it.
Do you know anything about? Do you know anything about?
Alyssa's at it again. In light of Eat a Dick, she's got a picture.
How does she know about that?
She just does that. You know how she is.
No, how does she know about the Eat a Dick?
I'm not sure.
Because we're not going live right now.
I don't know, but this is Alyssa. She's funny. She just sent me a picture of the Cleveland Police Department car.
Is it a big dick?
Dildo glued to the back of it.
Oh, someone glued it on there. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I mean, it's disrespectful to the.
Probably.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't get.
Dicks are funny.
I get into some arguments with people at the bar. It's amazing I haven't gotten a bunch of dicks or.
I know, but yet I get chocolate dicks.
Well, I told you I got the glitter bomb. They said asshole.
You're an asshole.
You're an asshole. So.
What am I reading about this Noah's Ark thing? I'm sorry, I just went off on a tangent. Did you know anything about this?
Yeah.
The owners of biblical Noah's
They're
Ark
suing.
replica sue over rain damage to the property.
But they built the Noah's Ark.
It's an ark.
Yeah, rain damage. That's supposed to save you in case you had too much rain.
Do
Do
you find this as funny as I do?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, well, you should send them your chocolate penises.
I could.
Say, here's some. You go like this. Send them like this. Hey, listen, we're not going to send you any money, but we do. Here's
you can eat it.
Okay, it's 42 minutes. We're gonna. When did eat a dick? Got wood. This guy, and the next one
Here's
just talk
Noah's
about.
Ark. It's made out of wood. You got wood.
Yeah, it's smooth and spherical, and
it is.
And
obviously, right now it's very wet. And
yeah. Listen, folks, we're gonna leave it here. Please leave a review for us on iTunes, Spotify, or something. We'll be back.
Spreaker.
Again, in Spreaker, whatever.
iHeartRadio.
Yep, I'm gonna play it right now. 3, 2, 1. Is it playing?
Oh, I heard it.